On June 6, 2025, the United States Supreme Court experienced a significant technical error when it mistakenly sent email alerts to attorneys and others, revealing which cases would be granted or denied review days before the scheduled Monday release. This premature disclosure, which was attributed to an apparent software malfunction, actually marked the second major technical glitch for the court within a year, following a similar incident where an opinion was briefly posted online before its official release. The emails, which were not supposed to be distributed until Monday, prompted the court to take the unusual step of releasing its regular orders list on Friday. This incident raised concerns about the court's operational reliability, with legal analysts portraying it as a potential blow to public confidence in an institution that really relies on its authority. I wonder if this early release had anything to do with the order that gave DOJ unfettered access to Social Security files just before the weekend. If you don't understand the significance of this, I'll link my video about the Trump-Musk hullabaloo and Palantir's mass surveillance software at the end and in the description. The Supreme Court decided to add 4 new cases to its 2025 to 2026 term docket, which is a promising step for reinforcing constitutional principles and protecting individual rights. These cases, as outlined in the SCOTUS blog article, tackle critical issues that really resonate with priorities of the American people: election integrity, Fourth Amendment protections, limited government overreach, and accountability for federal contractors. Things are moving along quickly. There is a lot of smoke and mirrors, but I continue to see subtle but significant changes occurring that will restore the integrity back to the United States system of governance and relief for the citizens of the nation. So let's take a quick look at the cases that SCOTUS has just added. In Bost versus Illinois, the court will review whether a political candidate can challenge Illinois' vote counting procedures, a case that underscores the importance of fair elections. This is a vital opportunity to ensure electoral processes remain transparent and accountable to ensure safeguards against potential fraud or mismanagement. The court's willingness to take this case signals a commitment to upholding the rule of law in elections, but falls short of overturning or proving fraud in the 2020 election. Next, the Case versus Montana case addresses the scope of police authority to enter homes without warrants under the community caretaker doctrine. My first thought was to find out if this was an illegal immigrant, but it appears that William Case is a United States citizen. These decisions will hopefully, clarify and strengthen Fourth Amendment rights, ensuring that citizens' homes remain secure from unwarranted police overreach and search without warrants. Before we get into the next one, which is just unbelievable, I'd like to remind you to hit the thumbs up, share this video, leave a comment, and subscribe and ring the bell for notifications of new videos. To remain independent, I now have ways for you to support the channel, which includes channel memberships, the shop button super thanks tips, and I just released my book, Nature's Healing Arsenal, on Kindle. So wait till you hear this next one, guys. I don't know how this can get any stranger. Then there are 2 cases dealing with liability of government contractors, and honestly, you aren't going to believe this insanity. First, there's the GEO Group versus Medical case, where the court will examine whether government contractors can claim sovereign immunity for work performed on behalf of federal agencies like ICE. Here's the deal on this one. This ruling could limit the expansion of government power and hold contractors accountable. This ruling would promote a system where private entities cannot hide behind federal immunity to evade responsibility. But we still aren't addressing the federal immunity itself. Should politicians be responsible for doing their job either way? In 2017, Menakal was arrested in Huntington Beach for possession of drug paraphernalia. Also, in March 2017, Menakal created a class for legal purposes of over 60,000 current and past illegal detainees. He also started a crowd justice page with about $8,000 in pledges, even though they are being represented for free. But this case goes back even further. Alejandro Menakal was in ICE detention in Aurora, Colorado, 2 years before, in 2014, and this class action suit is related to that 4-month detention from June 2014 to September 2014. This suit that has consumed U.S. resources in numerous areas accuses the detention center of violations of the Trafficking Victims Protection Act and demands millions of dollars in damages for forced labor and unjust enrichment. To put it simply, over 6,000 illegal criminals want to be paid millions of dollars because they had to do chores while in detention to be deported out of a country they had no right being in. The fourth case is Hensley versus General Dynamics, which involves combat injury suits against military contractors. So this is another case about contractor liability, but in war zones. The case aims to ensure that private companies operating in military contexts are held to clear legal standards, fostering accountability without undermining military operations. The case stems from the alleged breach of conduct by Fluor Corporation involving negligence in security protocols at Bagram Airfield in Afghanistan. Winston Tyler Hensley claimed this negligence enabled the November 12, 2016 suicide bombing that injured him during the Biden administration withdrawal from Afghanistan. Specifically, Hensley alleged that Fluor failed to properly supervise, entrust, or retain personnel and failed to exercise adequate control over security measures, in violation of its contractual obligations with the U.S. Army under the LOGCAP IV program and related military orders, thereby allowing the attack by an Afghan national to occur. So we are starting to see valid government liability cases coming before the courts for decisions made by the Biden administration. There are already several COVID liability cases, so it will be interesting to see where they go. Once the Supreme Court decides, will the government contractor liability floodgates open up wide, since much of what the government does is contracted out? Remember the wonderful Maryland dad who was deported to his homeland of El Salvador and the media sympathy campaign and protests to bring him home? And the lawmakers flying to El Salvador to inspect his conditions? Well, they always say, be careful what you wish for. This guy is back in the U.S., but not because of pressure by the left. There's a reason that he was flown back to the USA yesterday. He is being criminally charged with a human smuggling operation over many years, where he made over 100 trips between 2016 and 2025. So he's been doing it a long time. The DOJ claims he worked with at least 5 co-conspirators, using cell phones and social media to coordinate the movement of migrants, including MS-13 gang members, and devised cover stories such as claiming the migrants were construction workers to avoid law enforcement scrutiny. Prosecutors further alleged that Kilmar Abrego Garcia transported firearms and drugs, and a co-conspirator linked him to a 2021 tractor-trailer accident in Mexico that killed 50 migrants. Attorney General Pam Bondi stated that smuggling was Garcia's full-time job, involving thousands of undocumented immigrants, including children and women, some of whom he allegedly abused. And we'll end this up with another potential bombshell. In June 2025, FBI Director Kash Patel announced the discovery of a secret room in the J. Edgar Hoover building, which is the FBI's headquarters in Washington, D.C. According to Patel, the room, which was not disclosed to him or Deputy Director Dan Bongino upon taking office, contained documents and computer hard drives from the tenure of former FBI Director James Comey. The contents are still under review, and the FBI is working to declassify the materials quickly, some of which were not processed through standard FBI record-keeping procedures. Of note is the admission by Patel on Joe Rogan that the FBI recovered a cell phone and hard drives used by Dr. Anthony Fauci during the COVID-19 pandemic. The devices are reportedly under forensic investigation to examine their contents, though Patel cautioned that the data may be deleted or inconclusive and the statute of limitations could have passed. If you remember, Anthony Fauci was preemptively pardoned by the Joe Biden autopen. President Trump has said that those signatures weren't legal, and we could be seeing the whole autopen thing get hung on someone soon. Now the Fauci files are being revealed. Always look for the connections between things, guys. You might not always be right, but it will help you recognize a lie. Until next time, don't worry and don't get upset. Let's watch the process play out.